Joining me via Skype is Oisa Daba, a journalist with Africa Related, resident in New York. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to have you joining. So, well, you are in a place where the numbers are rising. The U.S. has hit the 5 million mark, slightly over 5 million. How compliant are people to use face masks and other, safety guidelines?
Well, it depends on who you talk to and who you ask. A lot of people have taken to these advice that's been given by the CDC and also by state government to comply with social distancing and the wearing of masks and the washing of hands. And a lot of people have, but you also have places where, like your report says, it's just clear defiance and flouting of these orders to the point where the executives or there's no policing around this type of behavior other than to resolve to what some of these state governors have and mayors have resolved to. Which is shutting down some of these public places and shutting down some of these parks.
Mostly local. Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask
and I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
People do refer to their constitutional rights to not wear masks, which is okay, but when you look at it in the context of pandemic, which is what we're talking about here, it is not only about your individual safety. The message really has to be drilled in that it is really about the safety of the general public.
Okay, so a couple of, was it last week or sometime back, we had Stella Emmanuel, with a couple of doctors who had a press conference which went viral. Now, it was on hydroxychloroquine. Could that have been fueling the current liberties and blatant disobedience of scientific recommendations?
I don't think it's fueling it. I think it's part of it. It's part of the discourse. Like I said, you have both sides and both sides talking about what they think they know best, and it's really the onus is on us to listen and for public knowledge and public advice to be out there. It's just for the public to listen and also to comply. No doubt that videos like what Dr. Stella Emmanuel put out had an impact of some sorts, whether she was coming from a political, background in supporting the current president and his administration, or whether she was coming from the human angle of, recommending a drug that she found helpful. Whatever her motives are and whatever, her intentions are, she did put out something out there that stirred some form of controversy and also stirred some form of discourse. And it's also about patterns. I've heard so many sides to this this video that went viral, but it's also about taking the necessary precautions so that we don't put out misinformation out there. In all our professions, in this time, I think we all have to be extremely careful about the type of information that we put out. It's got to be verified, and it's not just for journalists, it's also for medical professionals in wherever you find your voice, because there are people following you and there are people listening to you. And if you do put out wrong information out there, the consequences, could be.
Let me throw this in. It's ironic that at the point where the world is gradually opening, schools and religious houses and other places are opening, is at the point that the numbers are going off the roof. What do you make of this, and how would you advise for this to be contained, controlled, and cautioned?
interesting because in these parts it's summer. People have been cooked at home for months on end, with the winter passing, and also, the sun has finally come out. So you find that, you find the reason for this kind of behavior is further escalated by, the change of weather. People want to go out and enjoy themselves. People have had a very difficult 2020, and you really don't blame them. But if you do have to be out, is what matters. France, for example, we can take cues from Europe, which is going back to shutdown mode again, gradually, and reinforcing some of these things that were initially enforced and later on relaxed, and now we can see it being reinforced again. So there are patterns to follow. New Zealand is celebrating their 100 days of no domestic transmission. So there are countries that, we in the US and countries, worldwide can look at in terms of how their pattern has.
Okay, Oiza, I wish we could go on, but I need to cut you off now because it's time to go. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Oiza is a journalist with Africa Related based in New York. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Without a doubt, there is need for caution, given the circumstances, especially as the economic and social activities are beginning to pick up across the world. We have the guidelines to abide by and for all to stay safe until we find a vaccine. Thank you so much for watching. Do take good care and stay safe.